Welcome back to the Go Bros YouTube channel. Today we're working on this 2018 Chevy Malibu. It's got a pretty good oil leak coming from the valve cover. In that corner, it's leaking out of. You can see kind of the burnt up oil on there. And then it's hard to see down here, but in that corner it's also leaking and running down the timing chain cover too. This one isn't quite as simple as just popping the valve cover off and changing it out. There's quite a bit of stuff you got to take off on top of the motor. All right, let's get started. First things first, you're going to be unhooking a lot of electrical connections, so make sure you unhook your battery. Once that's all done, you can take off the plastic shroud and the foam insulation piece. There are two breathers, one that goes in the back of your valve cover and one that goes right on top. There is one bolt holding each of those in, and they're just held in there by a rubber O-ring. Swing those up and out of your way. I like to plug that hole up with a piece of paper towel so you don't drop any dirt or debris in there. Get a pick out and handy and unplug all the coil pack connectors and the O2 sensor. Then you can swing that harness kind of up and out of your way. Loosen up all the coil pack bolts and take all of them out. Loosen up the 4 bolts on the top of the fuel rail. Be careful when you crack this fuel line open on the top because it's going to have a little bit of pressure in there. I found using a pick was the easiest way to get the injector connectors out. Then loosen the 4 bolts on the bottom of the fuel rail holding the bottom section in. Then there's 2 Allen cap screws on each injector. Just take your time on these. These are kind of a pain to get out. Then just use a pair of needle nose pliers to pull out whatever bolts didn't come out with your socket. All right, so the injector rails, they just pop off. You gotta take the 2 screws out. There. On those flanges. You just push this little clip right there in and then pull out. And each of them injector wires come off. And then there's bolts there. There, as well as 4 bolts up here. And then unplug your main injector harness, and this whole thing comes right off. At this point, the only thing holding that fuel rail in is the O-rings on top of the injectors. So just wiggle them back and forth, and that whole fuel rail should come right off. Cover the top of the injectors up so you don't drop any dirt or anything in there. The intake tube is just held on by a metal clip, and then you can lift up on the intake and it'll come right off. The valve cover is a ton of 10mm bolts. Just loosen them all up and take them out so they're not catching when you try to pull this valve cover out. It's kind of a weirdly designed valve cover, but you have to take the vacuum pump on the side out before it'll let you pull the valve cover out. It's going to take a little bit of wiggling to get it out, but it does come out of there. As you can see, we got it all taken apart, and I already pulled the old gasket out, but it was broken right here. So that would explain this spot here where it was leaking all the way down the side of the motor. This side over here, there wasn't anything super obvious that would cause that to leak. And I'm sure you've seen me doing it, but right here, the vacuum pump goes in here and connects to your camshaft there. You have to pull the vacuum pump out because this weird valve cover design where it goes all the way around the vacuum pump. So you got to pull the vacuum pump out. Just unbolts 3 13mm bolts there, and the whole thing slides out. And you got to replace this paper gasket as well as this rubber grommet right here. So our next step, get everything cleaned up, get the valve cover cleaned up, and our surfaces down here. So we got a nice mating surface for the new seal. Spend a little bit of time and get this valve cover as clean as you can get it. Then I just used a little pry bar and got that old seal out. And the new seal I was able to press in just with my fingers. Then there's actually an inner and an outer valve cover gasket. Make sure you replace both of them when you do this job. Alright, got our new seals put in. Just cleaned up the surface around the top of the head. I'm going to put a dab of silicone right here where the timing cover and the head meet, and also back here. Just a little tiny bit of silicone. Alright, so once you have those seals put in, I just wiggled it back in there. It's a little bit tight with this fuel rail on the corner here, but you just kind of got to wiggle it around and it will slide into place. Now on the side of the head, where the vacuum pump goes on, right down there, got to clean that surface up. The vacuum pump right here seals on correctly. This is just a metal gasket and the GM part number right there. So we got to clean that up, and then first things first, we got to put the vacuum pump back in. Clean up that vacuum pump surface and then put your new gasket on there. Go ahead and reinstall your vacuum pump with your 3 13mm bolts. These 3 bolts are kind of a pain to get to. Put all your 10mm valve cover bolts back in. Reinstall your fuel rail and all the Allen cap bolts, and also all the bolts for the actual fuel rail. Put your coil packs back in and tighten down the 10mm bolts. Reconnect the fuel supply line and tighten that down. Plug all your coil packs back in. As well as your O2 sensor. Reconnect the vacuum lines to the back of the valve cover and the top. Put the intake tube back on and reinsert the metal clip. And finally, reconnect your battery. Before putting the covers on, make sure you verify you don't have any fuel leaks. Alright, this project's all done. Kind of a pain just to change a valve cover gasket, but that's what you have with these newer vehicles. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something, and we'll see you in the next one.